So in the last class, we discussed about part of the principal officers or in public sector. We discussed about president. In this class, we'll be talking about the other guys that are working with the president. That's what we call them the Council of Ministers or Federal Executive Council, whichever. Okay, let's Federal Executive Council. Now, Federal Executive Council essentially consists of all, I think I didn't write this very well. Just a second. Okay, let me write everything so that we. It is Federal Executive Council, otherwise called Council of Ministers, otherwise called also the Cabinet. Some people call them Cabinet of Ministers. Now, essentially, how did we come about this? Now, firstly, if you look at public sector like a company, like Nigeria being run like a company. Remember when we were talking in the last class, we talked of the president being like the chief executive officer, not that like he's the chief executive officer of the economy. The buck stopped on the table. He needs help of people working on various departments. And what we have done in Nigeria is that we are divided into various sectors and the economy. And I think we have 28 ministries. I cannot, but you can confirm, you can Google it, the number of ministries that we have, because the numbers keep changing, they keep adding and removing. But the thing is this, in Nigeria, we have a kind of rule that says that one minister comes from each state. Therefore, we have 36. We have 36, including the FCT minister. So we have 36 ministers in the cabinet, and that's why we have ministers and minister for states. So in some states, you have two people from each of those states because there's a minister per state, and there's a minister representing each geopolitical zone. Now, these ministers are actually to help the president to achieve the direction is going. So according to section 148 of the Constitution of Nigeria, it provides that the president shall hold regular meetings with the vice president and all the ministers of the government for the federation for the purposes of one, to determine the direction of domestic and foreign policies of government, two, to coordinate the activities of the president, the vice president, and the various ministers in order for them to discharge their executive responsibility to the people of Nigeria. And the third is advising the president. As was made popular by the former president Obasanjo, that says keyword there is advice. That does not mean he's going to take the advice, but you have the powers to advise. Now, so these are the reasons why the section 148 of the Constitution said that there must be constant meeting. Therefore, they all have a common direction. They're able to coordinate the agencies and the ministries and all the sectors of the economy, all the various areas of the economy that the public sector is managing: transportation, aviation, petroleum, information, and all those things are being done. But like I said in the last class, the person that is most important to us when it comes, because we are not talking of any other thing, is the Minister for Finance. And the Minister of Finance is critical to the issues of how the economy will be evolving. So, what are the responsibilities of the Minister for Finance? What are the responsibilities of the Minister for Finance? One, Minister for Finance. One is that the Minister for Finance is in charge of preparing the annual estimate. Now, what we've done, though we have made it easy by having a sub-department or agency under the Ministry of Finance called the Budget Office that prepares it, that coordinates all the preparation of annual estimate. It actually rests on the Minister for Finance. Why? Because the budget actually shows the direction of how the economy is going to go, and it's also a basis of directing how fiscal policies of government. We'll be talking about that. And that brings us to the second issue, which is issues around the Minister for Finance being in charge of formulating policies relating to fiscal and monetary policies. Now, what are the differences? We'll be talking more about them later. One, the fiscal policies are all those policies around taxation, borrowing, and public expenditure. They basically determine how the economy will feel based on how government spends or the policies of government on this. While the monetary policies relate to things around value, the cost, and the supply of money in an economy. Now, this has also been given as part of making sure that Minister for Finance is giving help to the CBN. The CBN manages that. And then three, Minister for Finance is also in charge of maintaining the foreign exchange reserve. And then, part of what it's supposed to do also is maintaining the stability of our currency. That has also been is not seeded actually. It's actually being given as part of those things that is being managed by the CBN, though under the oversight and the approval of the Minister for Finance. Therefore, so you understand that the CBN governor, the head of the budget office, actually they are staffs of the Minister for Finance. You can call them, what I mean by staff is that they are helping the role of the Minister for Finance. Four, the Minister for Finance is also in charge of monitoring our revenue from oil and non-oil revenue. Non-oil sector. Now, how does Minister for Finance do this? Minister for Finance do this by having the Accountant General to monitor accounting aspects, FIRS managing things like revenue from taxes, custom What's the name of it? Customs. Generally, customs. They manage the import, export, and all the revenue accruing from movement. And then Minister for Finance is also in charge of revenue allocation. Now, Minister for Finance is not in charge of determining the revenue allocation model. That is under the purview of the fiscal revenue allocation, one agency in government like that. The name just keeps me now, but it's called Revenue Allocation and something board. You could Google it and get it. So you can see how the role of Minister for Finance, and now all these have direct effects on the economy. How does that affect? Taxation. We've known the principles around taxes, that if there's a boom in the economy, you may use tax to reduce it. We discussed about it during the introduction when we talked about externalities, negative externalities. Government uses it both to control negative externalities and also to generate revenue from the economy. Borrowing. When we borrow, how does that affect the economy? What are we borrowing on? For example, if we borrow money our rail, in the long run, the rail will bring in revenue to us. And what is the pattern of our expenditure also in the economy? And the monetary policy have the effect, both of them have an effect of controlling what the inflation rate and how basically the economy entirely now functions. So in the next class, we'll be talking about the other officers, the principal officers in the public sector, which includes the accounting officers, then the director of finances in the ministry and agencies. So see you in the next class.